In the annals of history, few names resonate with such power and dread as Henry VIII, a king whose reign reshaped England and whose private life became a macabre spectacle. But beneath the opulent robes and the iron will lay a horrifying truth, a truth often omitted from the gilded pages of history books. The story of a monarch whose body, mind, and kingdom slowly decayed with him. This is the bizarre case of the king who rotted alive. Imagine a man once hailed as a Renaissance prince, a paragon of strength. Yet, as the years marched on, a grotesque transformation began. His lithe physique bloated, his once charming face became a mask of suffering. By the end of his life, Henry was a mountainous figure, barely able to walk. But his obesity was merely a symptom of far deeper, more disturbing ailments. The most infamous were the festering leg wounds, a constant, agonizing torment. Chronic ulcers that refused to heal, oozed and stank. A putrid stench following him, a private horror for the public king. Many historians now believe a devastating jousting accident was a turning point. A fall so severe it could have caused a traumatic brain injury. It might explain the dramatic shift from a jovial monarch to a paranoid despot. Some experts even suggest he suffered from Cushing's syndrome, a disorder that could explain his weight gain, fragile skin, and volatile mood swings. A cruel irony, a king literally rotting from the inside, his mind warped by illness. While Henry's body was a prison of pain, his wives often faced a fate far crueler. To be married to Henry VIII was to enter a psychological gauntlet. His obsession with a male heir drove a relentless, brutal quest, and Anne Boleyn, the woman he moved heaven and earth for, would become his victim. When she failed to produce a living son, his love turned to icy contempt. He orchestrated a conspiracy so venomous it shocked all of Europe. Fabricated accusations of adultery and treason were spun against her, all to get rid of a wife he no longer desired. The trials were a sham, the verdicts predetermined, her fate sealed. She was forced to watch innocent people die before she met her own gruesome end. The wives, indeed, had it far, far worse. Beyond the political machinations lay a gluttonous truth. Henry VIII's eating habits were legendary, and by modern standards, insane. Picture endless banquets, tables groaning under the weight of roasted meats. He consumed an estimated 5,000 calories a day, a diet of meat and sugar that fueled his rapid physical decline. Yet, despite the sheer quantity of food, there was an underlying terror, a deep-seated paranoia about being poisoned, a fear that consumed him. To counter this, an elaborate ritual of food tasting was established. Multiple servants, known as assayers, would taste his food before he did. Imagine the terrifying duty, knowing your life could end with a single bite. The insane eating habits were not merely a vice, but a symptom of a darker mind. As Henry's body deteriorated, so too did his grip on reality. His paranoia wasn't just confined to his dinner table, it permeated his entire kingdom. England under Henry VIII became a chilling surveillance state. Spies and informers were everywhere, listening for dissent, for treason. His palaces transformed into fortresses of suspicion. He slept with loaded weapons close at hand, a dagger and a crossbow by his bedside. His private chambers were riddled with secret passages and peepholes. He could observe his courtiers, his servants, his own family, unseen, always watching, always listening, always suspecting betrayal. The paranoia that consumed Henry VIII didn't just rule his mind. It cast a long, dark shadow over an entire empire. By 1547, the once mighty Henry VIII was a monstrous shadow of his former self. Barely able to move, his body racked with pain and disease. On January 28, 1547, the king finally succumbed. But even in death, Henry VIII refused to go quietly. His funeral was a lavish, grotesque affair. His body, obese and ravaged by disease, had begun to decompose rapidly. As his coffin was transported, gases began to build inside. One account, chillingly, claims the coffin exploded. The sheer pressure of the gases, a violent, grotesque expulsion. A putrid mess, a final, undignified spectacle for the man who demanded absolute control. Even his dog, it is said, licked at the vile fluids leaking from the ruptured coffin. A final, horrific insult to the memory of a king who ruled with an iron fist. Henry VIII remains one of history's most compelling and terrifying figures. A man whose physical decay mirrored the moral decay of his reign. The king who rotted alive, a dark stain on the tapestry of time. And a tale that continues to fascinate and horrify.